Welcome back from the break, Rams, and to our first installment of The Red Zone. I'm Ethan Bird.
And I'm Sydney Wicker. We'll be bringing you the hottest sports news from all over this semester. But to kick off the show, Ethan, it's obviously all about the Rocky Mountain Showdown.
Oh, yeah.
Well, for one last time at Mile High, the CU Buffs hosted the CSU Rams, and this in-state rivalry was anything but friendly. Let's take a look at the highlights here. We have Montez passing off the ball. Look at him go right up the field. That's going to be a Buffs 32-yard gain on the play and a first down, which is going to set him up right here for this touchdown play right in the end zone. Nice start for the Buffs. They're going to celebrate because that touchdown's a great way to start the game. Yes,
but the Rams would surely answer back. Hill connecting with true freshman Dante Wright. He showed up and he showed out this game, an impressive leaping catch into the end zone.
Look at that celebration. We have Hill right here again looking at the end zone, trying to connect with Jackson, but instead the Buffs are going to intercept it. They got to celebrate that one there. I mean, what are you going to do? First interception of the game, that's huge.
Hill would step back again, showing some newfound confidence and connects with Warren Jackson. An impressive toe touch there from the veteran receiver, doing what he needs to do to lead this young receiving corps.
We have the Rams back with the ball again. We're going to have the handoff to Wright. Look at him go up the sidelines. You can't catch this man. He's walking right into the end zone. The Rams are going to celebrate. That's a great touchdown there. Something to be proud of. I'd be happy too.
Oh, yeah. Here we have Steven Montez doing Steven Montez thing, rolling out of the pocket and finding a receiver. An impressive throw into coverage, and that would eventually lead to a score.
Montez here again, looking at Fontenot, and then that'll be a Buffs touchdown. They're going to walk into the end zone with ease. Hate to see it.
Absolutely. And here we have another handoff to Fontenot, and if that's becoming a pattern, that's because it was on Friday. Fontenot marches right back into the end zone and scores another touchdown. The Buffs would come up with the win, 52-31.
Despite the loss for the Rams in their season opener, quarterback Colin Hill had a standout performance for himself. The junior had his career start in a season opener game and kicked it off with a high. With 374 passing yards and 3 total touchdowns, Hill had the best start of his career. Now, Hill did have 2 interceptions on the night on top of that, but the key for him was seeing him connect with wide receiver Warren Jackson. Jackson tallied up 87 yards on the night, and the two were able to jive well together in the season opener. But it was all about true freshman Dante Wright. In other words, he was the man of the game.
That he was, Sydney. Wright had a breakout performance of the game for the Rams. The true freshman popped off to a tune of 150 total yards and 2 touchdowns. Wright was really impressive with his confidence on the field. I'll tell you what, you would not have been able to tell that he was playing in his first collegiate game. Wright has the potential to have a huge impact on this team and become a household name in Fort Collins in no time.
Well, you know, Ethan, going into this game, I was a little nervous to see what the Rams had in store. I didn't think it was going to be very great. They've lost quite a few huge wide receivers, but, you know, they were able to step up and really put on a show. Warren Jackson filled in those shoes quite well.
Oh, yeah, and I think after last year, we were all pretty nervous, but the first half looked amazing for the Rams. If the whole game had gone how the first half went, I wouldn't even have been upset about the outcome. But eventually, the wheels came off, and that was kind of hard to watch. The defense looked a little gassed. CU just showed up, and that showed that they had a little bit more depth.
Absolutely, and I think the defense was both lacking on both sides of the ball, but lots of improvement and lots of potential to see from the CSU Rams team.
Oh, yeah. One guy we really need to talk about is Rashad Ajayi, who had the main job of defending Heisman hopeful Laviska Shenault. If you don't remember last year's performance, Shenault went off for 211 total yards on a Ram defense. But on Friday night, Ajayi did what he needed to do and held him to 48 receiving yards.
Yeah, pretty impressive to see Ajayi do that. He was one of the defensive players that really stepped up in this game. Shutting down Laviska Shenault, that's quite impressive. Not many people can say that they do that, but CSU can be proud of that.
Oh, yeah, you'll love to see it. The football team was not the only sport busy this weekend. The CSU volleyball team had their hands full as they hosted the Ram Volleyball Classic. The Rams season opener on Friday went exactly how they wanted when they swept the Chicago State Cougars. The Ram Classic continued into Saturday when the Rams faced off against the Cal Golden Bears. The Rams fell to the Bears 3-1 despite Katie Oleksek's stellar performance of 42 assists and 9 digs. The losing ways did not persist too long for the Rams, though. For the last match of the Ram Classic, CSU went head-to-head against the Oklahoma Sooners in front of 5,000 fans for their annual whiteout match. The Rams bounced back from their disappointing loss against Cal with a straight set victory over Oklahoma. The Rams dominated the net, outblocking the Sooners 11-3, and were led by Paulina Hogart-Jensen's 5 blocks and 12 kills.
Really great job by the volleyball team. What a way to kick off the weekend.
Oh, yeah. Starting off 2-1 is, I don't think that's exactly what Tom Hilbert had in mind. I think that Cal was a bit of a trap game for them. Cal had a worse record than the other Power 5 team in Oklahoma in the tournament. And it sort of seemed like the Rams went into it not completely ready. They showed a lot of youth there. They're starting 2 true freshmen as defensive specialists who are trying their best to replace Maddie Fouts, who played all 120 sets last year.
Yeah, for sure. I know Kiersey Hilliard did return, and they have quite a few veterans on their team. And they're really, really strong in that front line, but having those freshmen kind of come in did hurt the team a little bit in that Cal game. You could see where it lacked from experience. But Tom Hilbert did say he was impressed with the team and how they were starting to jive well together. They still got lots to work on as the season goes on, but it was the first 3 games, so you got to cover some slack.
I'm excited for the season.
Me too. Well, now, Rams, it's time to wrap up on something we like to call Tell Me I'm Stupid. Ethan and I will be taking a step into the hot seat to see what we think on some of the hottest topics happening around campus and around the sports world. So, Ethan?
Okay. Tell me I'm stupid, Sydney, but I think the Rocky Mountain Showdown is way too big of a game not to have neutral refs. But don't just take it from me. This is what CSU football head coach Mike Bobo had to say after the showdown.
I don't understand how big this game is that you don't have neutral refs. I don't understand it. It's too big a game not to have neutral refs. Okay, that's all I'm going to say about that.
And I don't think he has anything else to say. All of us remember the 2018 showdown, 2 offensive pass interference calls, and then this last showdown that we saw on Friday night. I wouldn't like to, it's not a questionable fumble call, but it's when they called the fumble. And that's when I would say that the wheels fell off for the Rams.
You know, I get what Bobo's saying here, and there were some questionable calls for the Rams in this team, but if you're going to rely on the refs to determine the game for you, you're not prepared for that game. And that's what I've got to say. You know, if you're relying on those pass interference calls to be called, which is not good for the Buffs, and I understand that, and you're relying on things like that to help you win, that's not okay. But also, if you're getting these calls called on you, your team still needs to step up and play all the way through. You can't be quitting, and that's what the Rams did in the second half of the game. They didn't come out to play. They came out and they quit.
It's a lot easier to quit when you're demoralized by a factor that you can't control. I mean, you're trying your best, you're working as hard as you can, and then things don't go your way. I agree with you. You should play all the way through, but there's a level of demoralization that can happen there when the refs don't do the job that they're supposed to be doing. And
I get that. Colin Hill threw an interception early in the game, but then he has the fumble. He recovered from the interception in the first half of the game, but he can't recover from the fumble. You can make up for those mistakes. You can make up for them, and it's so easy to do that. And I know I'm saying that. I've never played football before, but you do have to consider when you're in that element, you can't be relying on things like that to happen. You got to go out and play the entire game, and I don't think that's what the Rams did, and I get why Coach Bobo's upset. But even today, he later on went to say, well, he thought that they were aggressive, but they played to win the game, and they just didn't make enough plays to win it. If you don't make enough plays to win it, then you're not there for the full thing, and that's just my opinion.
Well, there's only so many plays you can make when the ball's not in your hands because of calls you can't control.
And that's fair. I totally get where you're coming from. But I guess we'll have to fight more next week, Ethan.
Oh, and I really think we will. Well, Rams, that is all we have for you this week. But to stay updated on sports throughout the week, be sure to follow us on Twitter and Instagram at sports_CTV. I'm Ethan Bird.
And I'm Sydney Wicker. But stick around, Rams, because if you saw some people riding around on bikes in funny costumes this weekend and don't know why, well, Janae Hancock has all the details. Entertainment is coming up next.